Hey y'all, I'm back to discuss the three great Huffington series that I have recently finished. I will be discussing the Eisenberg Effect series, the Domino Effect series, and the Berkeley Bred series, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Books with Kimberly. Don't forget to like, comment, share my channel, and subscribe. Y'all, I have been enjoying me some great Huffington books. These books are given urban fiction, urban romance. In this series, they do get their money illegally, but it is not a heavy topic. So we're basically just getting the romance, and we know where the money comes from, but it isn't heavy into street culture and drug culture, which I really like, because that's really the only thing I liked about urban romance is, that damsel in distress, and then that strong kind of hood guy that like comes and rescue her and spends a lot of money on her. I mean, what's not to love about that? First book I ever read by Great Huffington was Luca from the Eisenberg series. I spoke about this in one of my previous wrap-ups. I did like the story of Luca, and it's what helped me continue going on. Luca was pretty good. Luca's character was fresh out of jail, and he fell in love with Ever, who's the best friend of his sister Lyric. The two of them had a good romance story that I loved, and I gave it 4 stars. Then we have Lyric's story, which is the sister of Laike and Luca. Lyric, she had a really good romantic story with Keanu, Ken, who is the best friend of Laike and Luca. And what I loved about Lyric is it had more of a storyline than Luca did. I gave them both 4 stars, but I will say that Luca did not have a plot to me. It was literally him and Ever dating, getting to know each other, and falling in love. Whereas this story, the storyline was Keanu really pushing for Lyric to tell her family that the two of them are dating, but Lyric being scared for them to find out. And then we get into Laike. He's the younger brother of Luca and the older brother of Lyric. I was really excited about this book because we get introduced to a character, Baisley, in book 1, and we get some of her in book 2. And what we know is that she used to date Laike over 10 years ago, but the two of them are done. But in this book, it is a second chance romance trope. And when Laike finds out that his girl Baisley is getting married, she got a whole fiance that is not him, it turns his world upside down. And he is now determined to get his girl back. I gave this story 5 stars. This was the first 5-star read of the series for me. I absolutely enjoyed everything about it. I love Baisley. Baisley stood on business. As much as she loved Laike, she loved herself more. And I love that that was quoted, and she stood by that in this book. The next book is Liam. Liam is a novella, and it was a short story to bridge us from Laike to the Domino Effect series. At the end of Laike, we get a cliffhanger because a man shows up. His name is Ledge, and he has a connection to the Eisenbergs that I will not spoil. I gave it 5 stars because it really gave some good background and showed some really good family dynamic. We then go to the Domino Effect series, and we start off with Ledge. Y'all, I absolutely love me some Ledge. Ledge was given perfect book husband. The only issue was that Halo for me. Halo is his love interest in this book. The books opens up with us finding out right at the start that Halo is a victim of SA. So trigger warnings, SA, and the R word are within this book. She has a phobia, which is agoraphobia, and she has a fear of leaving the home, of the unknown that is outside. She's only left the apartment 2 times within a 10-year span, and the second time is where the book opens up. She has decided to take control of her body. She is tired of that fear associated with her past of SA, and so she decides that she wants to have a one-night stand. I mean, I don't completely understand that, but I'm here for a good healing journey. So she goes to the club and she meets Ledge, who is the owner of the club, and the two of them have a romantic night where she does participate in the steamy activities that she wanted to. But after this, she decides that she cannot leave her apartment again and does not want to see Led. She does not use the phone number he gives her. The two of them don't see each other until 8 months later, when he finds out about her agoraphobia. He does his research and he really respects her boundaries. As this is happening for a few weeks, she is growing those feelings for him, that spark that started the first night they met. He too is in love with her. My only issue with this book was that Halo was very mean to Ledge at times. She really has a disdain for men because of what happened to her in her past. And I feel like she villainizes and takes that out on Ledge, which I did not like, because Ledge was going above and beyond for her. I give this book 4 stars. What kept it from being a 3 was that Ledge is just a good man Savannah. Like, he took it. He apologized when I felt like he didn't need to apologize. He tried to stand on business and tell her to stop treating him like that, but he would be apologizing and giving her money like the next chapter. So that was annoying to me. I did also read the novella of Halo, which did not help me like her anymore. Like, okay, I get you in love with him and you're still in therapy and y'all are working through some things. This is all good, but I didn't see the healing I needed to see or that appreciation for what she has that I needed to see. The next book in the series is about Ledge's twin brother, Lawe. Y'all, Lawe is reckless. He is reckless. He is just like Laike. I didn't really talk about that, but Laike was also like very trigger happy, always cussing, ready for a fight, real out there in these streets. They're like the same person. And so we get Lawe, who is like 10 times worse than Laike. And Lawe is a womanizer. And I was really curious how Gray was going to write him having a love story. But it was perfect for him because he fell in love with Clue, who is a stripper. Honey, he was spending lots of money on Clue and did not mind doing it. So I really like this book. This was the other book in the series that I gave 5 stars. It is tied up there with Laike for me because Clue was like tough girl. She don't take no ish. I really did love this book and I feel like she was perfect for matching Lawe's energy. I love how even though she was very like tough girl and all about her money, when it came to Lawe, she just melted. And Lawe had a lot of drama going on, so he needed to heal. He needed to grow up and be vulnerable. And so I really love the character development that we got to see with Lawe maturing and manning up and taking responsibility for his actions. So again, I gave this book 5 stars. Absolutely loved it. That is it for the Domino Effect series. So let's go into Berkeley Bred. The Berkeley Bred series is about 4 brothers. The first story is Malachi. We get introduced to Malachi in Lawe's book. And I was very curious how he was going to have a standalone romance book, because in Lawe's book, we find out he's married, happily married. His wife is having a baby. And so I'm like, maybe Gray is going to go back in time and give their origin story. No, ma'am. Gray kills that woman off. 2 years into his grieving in seclusion, Air wakes up from a coma in the hospital, and she starts to have visions of Anna, who is the wife who was murdered of Malachi, and Malachi and the life they had together. And so this story was giving a little sci-fi because this book does go into reincarnation. I was not feeling this. At first I was okay with it, but it was the fact that Air just started to really mold herself into Anna, and that's what creeped me out. Like her having flashbacks to Anna being pregnant. Now she felt like their daughter is hers. And I'm like, girl, you didn't have that baby. So that threw me off. And then like she changed her hair. She started eating like Anna did. I understood why Malachi was with him. He was using her as a replacement. But if he's using her as a replacement, it was hard for me to believe that this is the love story that Air deserves. Overall, this was not a good start to the series for me. I gave it 4 stars. It was pretty good, but not what I was expecting after the high I got from reading Lawe. The second book in the series was Milo. Y'all, I DNF Milo. I'm just gonna keep it real. I did not finish Milo. After I finished the Berkeley Bred series, I tried to go back to Milo and just couldn't put myself through it. So Milo's story is second chance romance. I just have a love-hate relationship with second chance romance. Either I hate it or I love it. For Laike's story, I loved it because Baisley stood on business. She had healed within those 10 years. Her and Laike actually were friends. Like, they could be in the same room together. They could have conversations and banter. They just weren't romantically connected until his story. Whereas in this book, Milo and Nature, Milo cheated on Nature 10 years ago, and Sis is still holding on to it. I don't have the patience to read this book and wait for her to get over it. And especially when in the first quarter of the book, he does something else to re-trigger her. And I'm just like, okay, so this is going to be a book of him working and working and working to get in her good graces. I don't want to read that. And that's why I don't like second chance romance. So if you can get over that hurt, you know, and this is romance, y'all. Like, in real life, I'm not asking women to, like, get over the hurt really fast. But in romance novels, I need you to hurry it up so that we can get to the lovey-dovey stuff. The next book in the series was Makai. Makai was really good. So we get introduced to Glacier at the beginning of the book. Glacier is getting ready for her graduation and her ex is blowing her up. He is her ex for a reason because he cheated on her with her best friend. He repossesses the car he bought her. So she is using her old car that she hasn't driven in years. It breaks down on her and she calls a tire shop. But it's not really a tire shop because it's ran by the Domino family. And it's just a business for them to clean their illegal money. So they don't do tires, but she keeps calling and Makai comes to help her, takes her to the graduation, stays at the graduation, gives her flowers, and tells her, like, enjoy being single right now because you won't be single for long. And so the book jumps to 3 months later. Makai gets on a plane to go on a family vacation, and when he realizes his cousins and his siblings are all booed up, he remembers Glacier. Y'all, I love Glacier because she was green, but she was also just like with it. Like, she was so ready for this adventure with Makai. I wanted that story where it's just insta love, it's just fuzzy. They want to be together. It gave me everything I needed. Where the book went downhill for me is that Glacier's ex comes back into the picture. He is threatening Glacier, and because of this, Makai is determined to end his life, and he will go to the ends of the earth to do it. And he does something that I just was not with in order to stand on business. Like, I understood he's standing on business, he's trying to protect his girl, but what he was willing to do and what he was willing to sacrifice in order to get rid of this man, I just felt like it was too much. The two of them just gave me all the romantic feels I needed. So that's why I'm able to give this book 4 stars. The last book in the Berkeley Bred series was Mercer. Y'all, I love me some Mercer. And I see what Gray did here, because what I didn't like about Makai, which is how hot-headed he was and determined to throw it all away in order to deal with Glacier's ex, Mercer was the exact opposite. In Mercer's story, he meets Valley, and Valley is married. She is in an unhappy marriage. The two of them start messing around, and the reason she hasn't gotten a divorce is because she is a famous poet and musician, and she is worth millions. Her husband comes from a family of lawyers, divorce lawyers at that, who will make sure that if the two of them divorce, he will leave with half of everything she has, and she will have to pay him alimony. And she's worked hard for that money and doesn't want to give it up. So she needs a plan of action of how she is going to get a divorce and leave this marriage, but leave with all her money, which I don't blame her. But the thing that really got me with this story and why I had to dock a point and not give it a perfect 5 stars is because the book didn't really go into how they were figuring this out. Like, I wanted more conversations or digging or more scenes where the two of them are discussing what they're going to do. It was a lot of waiting, and I wish it was different. I'm ready to leave. Well, do something. Like, I wanted to see action. We didn't get the solution to the very end of the book, and the solution that came, it was just real like, oh, that's what we waited all these months for. Also, I wanted to see more of the family. It's very interesting that Mercer is dating a married woman, and so I just thought the back and forth banter between his brothers and cousins of what they thought about his new relationship, I thought that would have been funny and entertaining. But y'all, Mercer and Valley had such a beautiful love story. I will say they are right up there as one of my favorite couples with Glacier and Makai. Y'all, those are all the books that I read by Bred Huffington. That is a total of 8 books. Let's get right into which one was my favorite. I will say Laike and Lawe are neck and neck, and if I had to choose one, I would have to choose Laike's story because Baisley just stood on business. I love the little twist at the end that I'm not gonna spoil. And second runner up would be Lawe's story. And then my favorite book in the Berkeley Bred series was Mercer, because Mercer and Valley just had this beautiful connection. I just love the whole family tree that has been built in this series. There's some good steamy scenes, real spicy. So this series was given everything I needed. I'm definitely going to continue reading more from Bred Huffington. And oh, my favorite book husband. I'm going to give it to Mercer. I'm going to give it to Mercer because he just showed that restraint and calmness. He had elements of Luca, but he also got a little bit of that Lawe action going on, but he just knows how to keep it restrained. My favorite girl of the series would have to be Baisley. I'm gonna give it to Baisley and Laike's story. So y'all, that is it on all the books that I read by Bred Huffington. 8 of these books I read in the month of August. Get down in those comments and let me know if you've read any of these Bred Huffington books. Let me know if you have any urban fiction recommendations. And y'all, thank you again for tuning in to a Books with Kimberly video.